Hello there, and welcome to Light of Lamp Ministries. This is Pastor Jason Dolhay, going into Matthew 13, verses 44 through 46 here, the parable of the treasure and the pearl. Now this is all about self-worth and value here. Christ teaches your value and your worth to Him, and the work He did to do that. Now what we will notice first here is, first we will notice the things that we put our value in first, and Christ is trying to exchange that, showing us He took place of that in His hard work, of course, at the cross, the sinless sacrifice that He was, the passion that was of the Christ and is the Christ, okay? The work that He did there, innocent, with that death sentence, death penalty, okay, hanging over His head, okay, not just, and as I say, not just like an electric chair, okay, but knowing for years that it was going to be the brutality and the asphyxiation that He suffered for endless hours, seemingly so, that it would have been for us in all that hard work and being rejected of men while He was here the whole time, being not guilty, only had the love of Him for us, our very own Creator in the flesh, to come to be Savior and Lord for us. So only imagine that, if you know, and imagine that if you put your place in someone that was let's say guilty, and then, or even innocent, and it wasn't appreciated by anyone, okay, how would you feel? Okay, so this is all about appreciation as well, as we will see here. And when we get a pearl, they will get the value of it, the appreciation of it, the value of it, to determine what it's worth, and to see if it's well appreciated or depreciated. Okay, so that's that there. Okay, let's pick it up here, verse 44. Okay, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field. So the Lord's saying, we're lost. Okay, we're lost, basically underground here, hidden in a field. Okay, this is us, and then what else? Like, what would we do? What do we do in life before this? Who wouldn't want to go for that lost, hidden treasure if you knew where, especially if you knew what it was? You're going to travel all around the world, okay, and say you get there and it's gone. You'd be upset. So that's the work that Christ did for us, and of course, you ain't gonna be too happy about it. You reject that, okay? He's coming back with a fury, okay, for the work that He put in and the value that He considered us in doing so. Okay, continuing on, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy therefore thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Okay, so he finds it. A lot of people, well, what do we many people, would have a metal detector, okay, or whatever. Point is, if we knew what that is, and we all would find that, and who wouldn't want that? Is, as Christ is talking about going for the riches of the world here, okay, though they're hidden. They're hidden, really. It's what He's also showing us. So we're putting our value in something that's hidden and we're not going to find anyway. Okay? And if we do, happens to be here, if we do find it, okay, that's what we would do. We would do likewise what He did here, giving us that analogy. Okay, so He would sell all He hath, knowing that, and then buyeth that field. That's putting all His investment in that field. Okay, so now He would want you to to make a return on that is taught in all the other parables. Okay, the Lord gives you something, you better be out in the field, out in that field, working as a servant. Okay, and as a servant of the Lord, definitely many warnings about that, about not being a servant, wicked servant. Okay, servant or making other Christians. Okay, what they're not doing is going around and beating other servants down and stuff like that. It's taught Luke 12:41 through 48. So that would be wasteful in what Christ has given, and they're going to pay the price. Okay, because he paid the price here. He bought it all, and he didn't take heed. Okay, so what would they continue to do? Not even taking heed, but continuing, chasing them things of the world, putting their value of it, putting their self-worth in them, judging all things by them. And of course, we're talking about the chase here. This is the non-stop chase, hence hidden in that field, finding their worth in that. This is how lost we are. Okay, before salvation in Christ find us and our response. Okay, so that one deals with treasures and money specifically, and now we will go into materials. Okay, jewelry specifically, what we put a value on them. Of course, everyone likes a nice piece of jewelry, and that's fine as long as we don't worship it, of course. 45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man, Christ is that man, seeking goodly pearls. 46. Who, when he hath found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Okay, he put all his blood, sweat, and tears on the cross. Okay, like well, everyone knows the saying around the world. Okay, or a shot heard around the world. Okay, well, here's the cry: the crucifixion should be heard around the world. But to those that respond to Christ, and also see, this is where why he's teaching us our value and our worth. Okay, to buy it. Okay, okay, him making us good, righteousness through faith. Therefore, now this is a big one, because we everyone does this when we worship the world. What we before salvation, this is what we put our worth in: the things of the world, serving them and chasing them here. Hence, this Christ is comparing this as we're in this place as we would around the world, working for the world, and we can never get there. Well, he ended that here. Okay, and overcoming the world first for us, so that we may overcome the world. So that's why that okay, now you know, I mean, you know, many people you know, and this self-worth thing is a big thing now. Okay, because this is where Christ, this is where we put our trust in that first. And then when you put your self-worth in people first, you're not going to always get what you want. Okay, you're always going to be let down. Okay, and well, true Christians certainly should not be seeing that come to pass. Okay, but we have repentance. But generally, you know, for the world, that is, that's all they live by, and you're not ever going to be able to please them. Well, Christ is saying he is pleased here with your worth, but we can't find the worth in this world through the physical things. We will always, okay, be lost and miserable and serving the world and working for the world as slaves. Okay, as seen around and around you go. Where you stop, well, nobody knows. Well, everything stops when Christ comes back at the seventh trumpet, the seventh vial. Okay, and don't want to be caught worshiping the world there, as we see in Revelation 18. Okay, the merchants there. Okay, also seen. That's why he gave this analogy here, and this is an application for the end times. There, you see money there, Babylon, of course, with the one world system, one world currency, and then the merchants of the earth. Okay, sold out to material world there. Okay, money in a material world, and they're all ill-gotten gains, of course, and everyone is In it for, well, what do we see? Own self-worth, okay? First, wanting to be worshipped. And you know how Satan pulls that off? Through a self-worship. Though they're worshiping him, goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, the very basics. Genesis chapter 3. To become little gods, like Satan stepping aside here, and you're not really worshiping him. As he fulfills the flesh needs, okay? Because people really, well, what would they say? Just give me that, and I don't really care about that, okay? Just give me all these things of the world, and put God aside. Doesn't matter who he is, okay? Doesn't matter who showed up and said, I'll give you $1 million if you do this or whatever. And well, we see quite a bit would do it, no matter what, okay? With no morals, okay? And it's just that easy, and Satan's just that promising. And once again, it's not for who he is, but for what he offers, as Christ showed us in Matthew chapter 4, okay? He convinces people also, what do we see? That you're not worth anything unless you have some money. Okay? Well, godliness with contentment is great game, but love of money, many have pierced themselves and fall from the faith, okay? And amazing, Paul uses that term, piercing themselves, okay? Well, Christ was pierced for us, okay? So that's why he would use that to show us what Christ went through once again. You usually always see that terminology all throughout the Bible, well, especially in the New Testament, of course, in the epistles, that terminology showing what Christ did for us and where we're serving, heading, and all we're looking at. Because we look at this and bam, okay, well, that's why, okay? And then, oh, Christ did this for us, so yes, that's why. Okay, amazing how Jesus Christ teaches. Continue pointing out, no one ever taught like that. No one ever has, no one ever will. Okay, the depths in the human heart and mind and what we need. Okay, and we see it now, okay? In this world, what's big? Self-worth, people finding themselves, it's lost. Hollywood, gotta keep up, gotta look a certain way. No, be happy with yourself, with the Lord first, and then you can love someone else. Love your neighbor as yourself, in that general regard, of course. And of course, we're not supposed to, not self-love as in self-worship, but our basic care as in this, our self-worth through the Lord. General basics that we would take care of in ourselves spiritually to physically, that is life essentials, okay? Essentials, so to help, okay? So that's that. And you know, that's why would you want to find your worth in that stuff anyway? Okay, there's no satisfaction into it. The world's been a proven thing here. It's one fad to this fad to the next fad to the next fad, but it's all, what is it all under? Money or materialism, okay? We don't want to be living in that money world or material world. Christ taught both up and down, especially Matthew 6:19 through the end of the chapter there, okay? First started with money and then material world. You need to check them studies out. Please do. They're very important in application. And Christ first overcoming for us and how he showed us how to do it. Because what this does, see what we see in this self-worth stuff also in worshiping the things of the world, it creates a reality that does not exist. Okay? It would create nothing but fear, worry, second guessing, no confidence, hence low self-esteem. Okay? The Lord wants us to have, okay, it's false teaching. Say, well, Lord doesn't want you having high self. Yes, he does. Feeling good about yourself, doing right. Okay? Cleaning the inside of the cup first, and then he said there's nothing wrong with the outside thereafter, okay? And of course, Many references to that as well, of course. King David, a big one, because he had the inside clean first. Now, of course, he wasn't perfect, but he didn't live in desire and sin, but he messed up quite badly along the way. Okay, a few times. Okay, I think we'll leave that study there. I think we got the point there. That's an amazing parable that it is. Self-worth and the appreciation and value the Lord finds in us, and we in turn have that in response for Him seeing what He did, understanding. That's why these parables here, understanding the depths that Christ went, hence down in that field as we're lost, underneath the surface, and hence around the world. Okay, so I mean, no one wants to travel around the world for nothing. Okay, everyone would be pretty upset. Okay, thank you for watching the study. Have a great God bless day.